Hey kids, it's Jurassic James, and on this Jurassic James Explains, we're looking at Miragaia. So I have only four here, and of course what shot the video or started the video was this new one right here from Jurassic World. But first of all, Miragaia, what does it mean? It's a Latin word Mira meaning wonderful and Gaia meaning the earth, like an earth mother. So Miragaia means wonderful earth mother. The animal was found in Portugal and named after a parish that was there. And what's going on, basically, they were cutting a new road out, and they found the front half of the animal. Now, my first mirror guy is this guy here, and I love this guy because it is, I believe, Carnegie. Yes. And one thing to point out is, again, they don't have this part of the animal. So they found in the front, partial skull, about eight pairs of spines, and this part up here. So what's really cool about this guy is that, I mean, with stegosaurs, there's a family of stegosaurs. There's actually different families of stegosaurs, and we look at the relatives and compare them that way. So with this one in particular, looking at it, you're like, well, how does it fit in? I like that the toy has three toes. If you've been to my Stegosaurus video, I think a good portion of it was the toe number correct. The forelimbs, it has 5 digits on the forelimbs. Now, Stegosaurus does have actually 5 phalanges, but for Stegosaurus itself, there's 2 bigger. These 2 are bigger, then these 2 are medium, and then this one is under the pinky. We call it pinky. Under the skin, we're kind of a little nubbin. So again, I didn't see much on the paper off the feet per se. The focus is mainly the neck itself, and the neck is what it's like known for. Where most stegosaurs that people know of have between I think 9 and 13 neck vertebrae, Miragaia has 17. It's the longest neck vertebra of any dinosaur. Stegosaur, longest neck of any stegosaur, and actually has more vertebra than some long neck sauropods. So it's kind of its main feature. So you're saying, why have a long neck? Today we have giraffes, largest mammal, long neck, has 7 neck vertebrae, just like a human have 7 neck vertebrae, and a mouse has 7 neck vertebrae. These guys have longer ones, so we're seeing it's like this trend in this area to kind of grow longer necks. Most likely, the two answers will be one, feeding, that it can reach higher limbs, but we don't know for sure because we don't have the back limbs. So, I mean, by all intents and purposes, looking at other stegosaurs, the arms are usually shorter than the legs for stegosaurs, so we think can rear up, but they didn't find the legs, so we can't assume that. Also, you might notice that there is a row of plates, and it transforms to a row of spines. Now, the reason that's important is because other stegosaurs, we'll see in a minute, have that same row, actually. But I'll cover that more in the genealogy story. So this is a very good model for Carnegie, and I like the colors. Like I said, we don't know the color of the animals, but, I mean, if you're going to go with natural tones, enough to attract the mate, but not be too flashy where predators can kill you, The next 2 guys, these actually came in the same pack. I was at Walgreens, and basically they have like the seasonal toys and all that, and they had them labeled as a different species of stegosaur from China, actually. But looking at the long neck, like, this is a Miragaia. So basically it's adult and child. I will say the adult, my only complaint is the tail is short, because stegosaurs have relatively long tails, but we didn't find it, so maybe they were right, who knows. But again, it's the same play that we have the plates in front, spines in the back. That's based on something. So it's really interesting. It's the exact same. Here, look at the juvenile, and then this one from Carnegie. It's the same mold, basically, right? Now, why we're here right now is this guy here, and I saw it, I instantly bought it. This is the Jurassic World Dominion Miragaia, and the first thing to point out on the package is like all the. This is kind of neat because usually there's like the balcony design, the cardboard there to hold it up, basically, but it's just on a piece of plastic tied in. It's kind of neat. But let's get it open with the official scissors of Jurassic James. So let's see here, snip, 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 and then there, you're done. That was it. Receive the blades, and we free our little friend. Yes, and though it is born. Now, it's interesting. First of all, no, Miragaia is about 20 feet long, 18, 20 feet long, so it's a little bit shorter than Stegosaurus itself. Now, the first thing you would see, and is the spikes and plates. And again, we have the first 8 row of plates. Spikes are all a guess. I'll tell you why in a minute. These long things here are shoulder blades. Now, initially when it was described, it was thought to be shoulder blades. It's now thought that these large spines were part of the tail. So that's something that's kind of pointed out. People are like how the first one doesn't even show that. So that's a misinterpretation. misinterpretation, but I'll say this. So Miragaia, the long neck stands out. What I like about the figure is the mouth actually opens. That's really cool. I do not, out of all, yeah, out of all my Stegosaurs, not even Stegosaurus, Stegosaurids, none of them can open their mouth. So that's kind of a cool thing to point out there. That it can like open. And now what's really, of course, with that comes critiquing. On the inside of the mouth, it's a beak. And on the top of the beak, there's no teeth behind the beak. Now, we do know Miragaia because it was one of the first Stegosaurid, the Stegosaur group, in Europe down with a skull that we can, study. Usually the skull fragments. And there were no teeth in the beak, like Stegosaurus itself. But they would have had teeth behind the beak in like kind of what we consider a cheek area. So this one has teeth going on the lower jaw all the way from the front, like ours. So that's incorrect. Should have no teeth in the front, and the top has no teeth in the back. So that's cool. But as far as placement, the neck. Okay, so the neck goes up and down. It doesn't turn lateral, just up and down. The tail can rotate, and the legs move, and that's pretty much all the articulation. The spines do not move. So, why is this a plausible idea? The most famous member of the group is Stegosaurus itself, and Stegosaurus, known from North America and Portugal, actually, has several rows of plates and 4 spines in the end. They are our Tanzanian or African cousin, Kentrosaurus, has plates and spikes, and these shouldered here. So, looking at Miragaia, it's not out of the question to assume the back end may have been plates. And of course, it wasn't at the time bad to assume that it may have had shoulder blades because of these shoulder spikes, or they should be further up. But the idea here is that you're seeing, they're looking at it and comparing it. There are other cousins like from China with the same plates and spikes, and of course, the first Stegosaurus genre that's recognized and known is I can't say it properly. It's the Cintosaurus. I have trouble saying the name. But this guy has plates and spines and the shoulder blades. We have Giganospinosaurus from China. Same thing here, only they have giant blades. And Lexosaurus, one of the earlier Stegosaurus that's sometimes debated. So you're seeing that pattern over and over again with the group. So to find Miragaia and have the back end missing, it's not crazy to say maybe it had plates in the front, spikes in the back. But again, the argument is, hey, they were literally building a road. And, you find fossils when you're breaking open rock and stuff. And so these plates might have just been tail spikes or something. We don't know. It's being debated. They weren't found articulate together. And articulate in paleontology, or for fossils in general, is when you find the animal like laying down and everything's in order. So imagine the opening scene of Jurassic Park when they're, opening scene with Dr. Grant on the dig. And they're digging, and you can see that the raptor's like laying like that. That's articulate. It's all together in place. A lot of the times the fossils are inarticulate, which means they have trouble speaking clearly. No, they are inarticulate, which means that those are jumbled up together. So the science of taphonomy between death and fossilization, the animal dies, it's moved around, and by rivers and stuff, there's an inarticulate skeleton. So with this being half missing, literally, we don't know. That being said, we saw its cousins, let's look at the environment it's from. So Portugal. One thing to point out is that by the late Jurassic, Pangea had already formed, right? And it began breaking up. One thing people don't realize about supercontinents like Pangea and the ones before it is that they don't last very long. They form and they're there for a minute and they break apart. And the idea is that that's an imbalance basically. But the main thing is we think about Colorado and Portugal and Tanzania, Africa, and they're very far away today. Back then, they were close together. The Atlantic Ocean was being born. It was breaking apart those areas. Well, sorry, as the plates were breaking apart, the ocean flowed in at that area and made the Atlantic Ocean. So Miragaia lives in Portugal. And what's important is that a lot of dinosaurs that are found in North America, the Morrison Formation, which I've talked about over and over again in this video, on these videos, those animals are found, some of them are found in Portugal. So if you're playing with your Miragaia, you want to be time, period, and location accurate. You're looking at Portugal at this time. There are Ceratosauruses there, which we know about Ceratosaurus. There are Allosauruses there, which I think I have a video coming up, maybe 2 videos from now, about Allosaurus. So your basic Morrison stuff. We have a Camptosaurus like this. There's one called Dryosaurus, which are like kind of like small duckbills, but they don't have duckbills. And here's, I showed earlier, this guy. This is the same genre, and the name again, say it correctly, is Decentrosaurus. So this is another stegosaur. Now, they didn't have Brachiosaurus there. There's a Brachiosaurid type animal called Luciditan, so I'm using this to represent that guy. And of course, this little guy here is a very, very, very rare dinosaur. It's kind of weird because I talk about the family groups like the sauropod, longnecks, and theropods, but there's actually, this is a theropod, but within the groups there are subgroups, and this guy is, it's after the formation, it's actually we'll say his name sometimes, Lorrainosaurus, very rare animal. We're not sure where it fits in. On my website I do have it on the latest information where it's putting in, but this guy's found there too. This is a small theropod, and there's many more animals that there are no toys of. But this is what lives in Portugal in your toy world. If you have the Jurassic World stuff, that's what's going on here. So that's Miragaia, really cool stegosaur from Portugal, the longest neck stegosaurus known. And here's a nice figure of it you can get from like Walmart or Target, Jurassic World. That being said, thank you for tuning in. Next week we're going to China to see a different dinosaur. Hey YouTube, this is Jurassic James. If you like this video, you can subscribe or comment or ring the bell or all the things, or share, because people should know, like, there's some crazy guy talking about toys the whole time, and they're all laid out. That being said, I'll see you next week.